It feels like such a far cry away from the initial launch of 2042, but call me a hype merchant, but Battlefield might actually be back.
You sure about that?
I've just finished watching the Battlefield 6 reveal, and my initial thoughts are pretty darn good. And I wanted to talk about what we got to see, while also seeing some gameplay from other streamers, and just talking about some overall details about the game. And the great thing is, we won't have to wait too much longer, because the open beta for the game starts next week. So I'll be able to get my hands on it and see how it truly feels. The first thing that immediately stands out to me from the initial reveal and also watching gameplay is the return to what Battlefield should be. Returning to classes after 4 years of the weird specialist system. Destruction that makes its way back into the game after being severely toned down for multiple entries. And I'm not talking like Levolution levels of destruction. I'm talking about having the ability to blow an entire building up, or at least a majority of it, to get a tactical advantage back against another player. Returning to a more modern Battlefield, particularly more 4 and 3, which are two of my favorites, as opposed to what 2042 was. Obviously, I can't comment in this video about the gameplay feel or the redesigned combat, because I am just watching it. You have to feel how it looks. So I'm going to be mainly talking about what has excited me from the entire reveal itself. I also think something that was really key that needs to be highlighted is the entire presentation from top to bottom. It was top tier. Getting 400 something creators out to do live gameplay for a few hours after the reveal is fantastic, because you get an actual look of what the game is in different hands from different skill levels of different creators. But then also on top of that, the presentation itself, there was no slow periods. It was just hype. It was fast paced. They showed off a couple of members of the dev team. They get into trailers that showcase the different aspects of the game. It keeps it fast, it keeps it upbeat, and it builds hype. It felt like the event went by in like a few seconds, and it was 20 minutes long. So to keep that pace for that period of time was great. But let's talk about actual specific things that I am excited about with this reveal. The first and most obvious one is obviously the class system returning. Now, I know it's not exactly the same as the previous class systems, because I think a lot of the weapons in the game will be very flexible, but each of the classes will have their own predetermined roles that the other ones can't do. 2042 had the specialist system, but it felt like that you could be like a jack of all trades with certain classes in that game. But going back to the assault, the engineer, the support, and the recon is going to be the best part, especially for squad synergy. The assault class has enhanced mobility, an extra primary weapon, plus they have the ability to push deeper into enemy lines. They also have like a perk that allows them to not take as much fall damage. You then have the engineer, which is one of my personal favorites, being able to destroy vehicles, set up like different equipment and such, and then also repair your team's vehicles as well. You have your support, which is your heals, your ammo, your deployable cover. They're now the masters of the machine gun. And then we have the recon, my personal favorite class in the entire game, which is like, you know, more the tactical mindset, giving callouts for your teams, spotting enemies and pinpointing positions, and then also having a whole bunch of C4 that you can throw on people as well. I'm glad that is back. I don't need to talk about it too much until I've actually played it, and I know a lot of people will be happy that the classes are back in the game. It also feels that they really took the destruction like comments and community feedback to heart, because some of the shit that you can do with like sledgehammers and C4 and rockets and stuff is kind of wild, and it's good to see it back. I don't think it'll be the same levels where you can bring down an entire building like you could in I believe like Battlefield Bad Company 2 and in like Battlefield 3 or in Levolution with Battlefield 4, but I like having the ability to gain a tactical advantage on something, or make a flank that you wouldn't think was necessary, or be able to blow a floor out from underneath a team that's above you and potentially get kills that way. The only thing I'm worried about with it is how it's going to affect performance, how it affects the maps. With so much chaos going on, especially the smaller scale maps, potentially that will have some problems. I am happy that it's back. And to kind of talk on the maps as well, we're getting 9 total maps at launch, and all of them seem to have a different variety of gameplay to fit some different modes. Some of them are more up close and personal. They said Cairo was One of them, or Gibraltar, was designed for more up close and personal ones. There's also one in Tajikistan, and then there's also Cairo as well. There's also 2 maps in America, being Brooklyn and Empire State, which I'm interested to see. One looks like it's going to be more of a wide scale. The other one looks more close quarters, which also leads nicely into something I am very excited about, which is the variety of modes. We aren't just getting Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush here. We're getting Team Deathmatch, which is obviously a staple. I'm really interested to see what Squad Deathmatch plays, or how it plays, because I've seen some gameplay of it already, and that looks really cool. Multiple squads of 4-person teams duking it out on a map. The Domination, King of the Hill. Having different variety is key, and I think it was definitely lacking that in 2042 at launch. It was lacking quite a lot of stuff, especially, which I think is the key thing here, which it seems like they've gone all in this time on making it the best Battlefield that it can be. What remains to be seen how it performs and how many bugs there are and how polished it is, but it seems like all of these modes and new things that they've added to the game have been tested quite a lot in the labs mode, and I think that's been a benefit for the game, having this community feedback and time testing the game to actually make it feel better potentially for everyone. And I can't wait to try it out next week to see how good or how broken it might actually be, and my opinion might change then. I did also mention that there's going to be a lot of extra modes, maps, and events to come post-launch. So the same as always, it's going to be the more seasonal stuff. But I'm just glad that we have a decent chunk of things to go through at launch. And if it's like a 3-month period, we'll probably get like a map or 2 or 3 maps every couple of months or something like that, which isn't too bad, I suppose, especially when you're trying to make more of a live service game. And then also, they did talk about that in future, Firestorm will be returning, or whatever they call in their new Battle Royale mode, which will be free to play. Don't know how that's going to do, but I am actually more excited for Portal this time around than I am for a Battle Royale mode. Portal this time around looks like a definite upgrade from the previous version in 2042. It did give you like tool sets to work on different games and stuff, and how you would affect games in the game engine, but this actually feels like you just get access to a map editor, and some of the things that they showcased, like the flying through explosive tank rings with a jet, or having like an avalanche type thing where you would climb up to the top, like different fun game modes, which I think would really help extend the life of a game like Battlefield, especially when it comes to community, for people that don't just want to go and be super sweaty in the lobbies, or don't just want to just sit in Conquest or Breakthrough. They want to go and have some fun with friends for a few hours. And then you also have the ability for your more milsim crowd or your hardcore crowd that want to do that specific stuff. It's just a lot of great things. They're doing it from the off this time, and hopefully it lands. I'm just begging and praying that this all works in tandem and there's nothing kind of hidden that they're trying to hide from us. Yes, it is EA, and yes, it is DICE. They have had issues before, but I think with Portal, with maps, with the changes to gameplay, with a lot of things returning back to Battlefield, it feels very much like we are back. It feels like Battlefield might just be back. Not to mention, we haven't even talked about the campaign that we'll be finding out more, which I really, really want. I miss the days of single-player first-person campaigns that we've had only with a couple of different games. Especially that were tied with a big multiplayer, i.e. Call of Duty. The last Call of Duty campaign was really good, and if they can put the same level of quality here, which I think they might do, because EA Motive are making this. I think they were also working with Ripple Effect as well. I think that information might be a little bit wrong, but still, I am very intrigued to see how they're going to be doing this campaign, and if it's going to be really like story driven, because the premise of the world itself of this Battlefield feels really interesting to see how NATO kind of falls apart and how this PMC organization comes to the forefront. I know I am giving into the hype train that is Battlefield, but I love Battlefield. It's one of my favorite franchises ever, and it's good to see it hopefully return to its roots. I'd say roots, or return to form in a sense, because the last couple of entries haven't really gone well. And only in the latter periods of the game, being like 2 or 3 years after launch, does it actually feel good to play. And hopefully this time around, the only thing that they have to worry about is balance changes and bug fixes and server stability, rather than it being, we're going to completely change a fundamental aspect of the game, which I think has been an issue, at least with 2042. So if you can get it right, then I think we'll be on for a winner. And we don't have to wait too much longer to be able to play it, because if you watch on Twitch right now, you can play from the 7th to the 8th if you get yourself a drop from watching one of the creators. It's probably already gone by this point by the time this video goes live, but there is an open beta from the 9th to the 10th of August, and then from the 14th to the 17th, with it launching on PS5, Xbox, and PC on October 10th. So not long to wait for some actual gameplay of it, which I'll be definitely covering next week or so, or when I've had a decent amount of hours in there. And then also when we get a chance to play it on or in October, which I am very, very excited for. But let me know your thoughts. This was a bit of a rambly, kind of excited video on Battlefield. I want to make more of these types of videos in the future. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And this has been It's Jimbo, and I'll see you guys next time.